It's dark and it's rainy. It's the perfect time to make this video. So here is the exact guide, step by step, on how you can live to be 120 years old. To make sure that we succeed, we have to do this very systematically. So we're going to start out with mobility first. You need to work on your mobility if you want to survive this long. There is no sense in living 120 years and having a very bad quality of life. So to increase quality of life, you have to be very limber. So call me bend over, because I can touch the ground as if it is nothing. And you have to do that too. We can move on to our cardiovascular system. If our heart gives out at the age of 40 because we have been pumping fries and burgers into our bodies, then you're gonna have a problem. You have no chance. But to live long enough, you need to have a heart that beats strong. And for that, you need to do cardio. Now, the two best forms of cardio, you're not gonna believe it, are very, very low effort. And the first one, and the best one of them all, is walking, because walking is very sustainable. But if you walk anything below 9,000 steps every single day, then what are you even doing? You've already failed. Pack your bags. But if you can, 9,000 every day for the rest of your life. It's a lot of fun. And the second one is going into the sauna. See, the sauna has amazing cardiovascular benefits without the added drawbacks of having to move or do sports, which if you're going to be doing the rest of the stuff on this list, you're going to have a pretty hard time fitting it all into your schedule. If you do not have a sauna, you might have an oven at home. Turn it up to 90 degrees Celsius, and for God's sake, do not step into it. What do you think I'm going to tell you to do? If you don't have a sauna, you don't have a sauna. There's nothing you can do about it. Our cardiovascular system is primed now. We are loose and limber, so we can move on to strength training. If you are not doing like real strength training, going for those 2-3 reps and maxing out maybe once a month, what is your life even there for? You need to have strength, especially in your legs. It turns out that most people who get hurt after the age of 60, for instance, with hip injuries and need a hip replacement, 1 out of 3 of those die within 12 months. And the best way to not have those injuries and not to fall down when you're 60 is to have some nice, strong legs and some good fast twitch muscle, because it's all about reflexes. You know, stopping yourself before you fall on your face and break your neck. Next up, you need a functioning brain to live that long with a good quality of life. And to do that, we need a complexity of movement that we do not find at the gym. And for this, we're going to use climbing or bouldering. Either way, you're going to have complex movement patterns, asymmetrical movement patterns, and all of this stuff is going to strengthen your mind-muscle connection and keep the brain on its toes. Next up, we have yoga, because believe it or not, bone density goes down with age, and drastically so the older you get, especially if you do not do things that strengthen your bones, and yoga is one of these things. Not only that, but we're going to build some nice isometric strength, because we're going to be holding positions for longer periods of time. So having a strong cardiovascular system is all well and good, but what if you do not breathe correctly? Yes, there is a correct way or a beneficial way to be breathing, and then there is a more detrimental way, and that is nose breathing compared to mouth breathing. See, we want to breathe in through our nose deeply and out through our mouths. First of all, this is going to keep our pulse lower. It's going to reduce cortisol and stress, and combined with that, it is going to help us over time achieve that automatic nose breathing. So you can even breathe like that when you're sleeping, which leads to better sleep quality, which in turn leads to better life quality. We know this already. Now you've put in a lot of effort. You go down the street and then you get mugged and someone just shanks you. What do? All this effort was for naught. So what are you going to do? You have to learn at least one martial art, and I would go with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You want to put them into sleep mode as quickly as you can. Jiu-Jitsu is very nice because you don't have to be very strong, you don't have to be large, but just with technique you can be extremely efficient. You need to optimize your calorie and energy intake, which means to eat clean. What does eating clean even mean? Bars. As long as you're holding a healthy weight, doing your exercises, be it cardiovascular, strength or otherwise, and as long as you are monitoring your carb intake, especially like your refined sugar intake and your salt intake, and you eat some vegetables from time to time, you eat some apples or bananas from time to time, it's all right. With aging, the risk of cancer increases. Now, there have been numerous studies showing that fasting can help with at least mitigating this on some kind of level. Fasting once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks for 24 hours is not going to hurt you. The newest fad of all is like intermittent fasting, because everyone is talking about autophagy and what it can do for your body. Yes, it has some nice benefits. So once every 2 weeks, you're gonna survive it, unless you don't. The stage is set, you've done your bed, and now it's time to go to sleep. You need 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. By that I mean, you're not supposed to wake up multiple times at night. If you do have to go pee or whatever, maybe try to drink less water right before you go to sleep, or go have your prostate checked, because you might have a problem. Now, the next one is going to be the hardest for you probably, and that is you need to have friends. Yes, apparently having friends, the older you get, is really important for your mental health and has been proven to extend your lifespan. People who have more friends generally live longer. So I want you to get on this now, and if you start now, maybe you'll have 2 or 3 friends at the age of 70, and by then you're halfway there already. And believe it or not, you need a job, or at the very least something that you do, that you enjoy, that gives your life purpose. People who leave work, they've worked off their 45 years or whatever, you're 60 and you're done. These people generally die within the first year or 2 on a much higher rate than they did when they were working. It turns out not having a purpose in life, even if it is just a small one and not doing anything that gives your life meaning, does make people very depressed and very unhappy, and that leads to them dying younger. I would have never guessed that. Now, knowing that the friendship thing is going to be a whole problem for you guys, I'm going to leave out the relationship thing. This was an exhausting, long list of effort that you're going to be going through every single day for the rest of your life. So for one, I want to ask you, is it even worth it? You want to really live to be 120 and having to do all that stuff, knowing that it's going to be every single day for the rest of your life? I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You have to decide that for yourself. Even more important, if you do all of this stuff, if you optimize your life to the T, you might still get crushed by a car or get shanked, as we said before, or something happens to you and you just die much earlier. People are dying of heart attacks on the football field at the age of 31. To be blunt and honest with you, you're going to die anyway, and you're never going to see it coming unless you're doing it yourself, which don't do that ever. But with that said, that's basically all the time I have for you today, and that is my list of how you can live to be 120. I do most of the stuff, pretty much all of the stuff, and I have no desire whatsoever to get this old, because it sounds horrible. Freaking horrible. Also, what if you have genetic problems like Alzheimer's or whatever? It's bad. I don't know. So I hope this was somewhat helpful, and if you like the video and subscribe, because we have new videos every single day. Captain Cairo, peace out.